Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone is up in front. I hope you can see her. She says hello. She's pursuing the things that she loves. Are you? Are you pursuing the things you love with the people that you love pursuing them with? I really hope so, guys, and doing it with health and happiness at the forefront of your mind and your intentions. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button for me on the video like you always do. Yesterday's video broke another record. I think we had over 1,200 likes. Just madness. Really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe whilst you're at it, guys, if you haven't already. Join the now 10,150 of you that have gone before. Insane growth. So appreciative. So appreciative. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Excuse me. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And I wanted to get through this topic yesterday on last night's live stream, but it was a bit of chaos and unstructured whirlwind, so it went where it went. And I don't really remember if we did cover it. So let's get my thoughts off my chest on this one, and I want you to do the same in the comments below. Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg to Atletico Madrid is the story. Credible news outlets, credible journalists who put their integrity somewhere at the top end of the priority list are referencing this story, saying that he could be going to Atletico Madrid, that the bid would be about 30 million euros, give or take, and that they're interested. They won't be the only club that's interested. Hojbjerg has a very good reputation. He's very highly thought of on the continent, and there'll be lots of teams in Germany and in Italy that may take a look if the price is right, if the opportunity exists, and that Tottenham are willing to let him go, and that he's willing to move on if need be. For me, it's a interesting one. I've been saying for a long time, I feel like he is probably the most sellable asset, that the absence of him in the team would have, I'm not going to say minimal impact, but a little bit less disruption. He is sellable purely because whilst I think he's a good player and he will fit lots of systems, I don't think he necessarily or naturally fits any of the specific roles that Postecoglou's midfield three asks of. He's not a natural six, and he's certainly not a natural six that needs to play with a high line behind him and is someone who controls and plays that quarterback Callum McGregor style role. I don't think he's the 8 like a Hatate. I certainly don't think he plays the Matt O'Reilly role either, the kind of 10 where James Maddison fits in. And so he is expendable in my mind. There is an issue though with regards the risk of injuries. You know, one of his major core key assets is he's almost unbreakable. He's very, very, very rarely injured. When everyone else falls apart around him, he's Mr. Dependable who can just churn out 90 minutes week after week after week, twice a week if necessary, and gets it done. And that is an important characteristic to have when there's a lot of other injury proneness in the team around you. And in our midfield, we do have issues there. James Maddison is known to have had injuries in the past. Not that he would be competing with Maddison for the role, but if we're thinking about the midfield three, the first 11 as being Bissouma, Bentancur, Maddison, and then the second 11 behind it being, say, Sarr, Skippy and Hojbjerg at the moment, there's a lot of injuries and familiarity with the medical team in that 6. Bissouma had a long injury, surgery, wasn't it, on his ankle last year? Bentancur, we don't even know what version of him comes back. Knee injuries do take a long time to recover from, and I think that you're never really the same. It's not as frequently a reoccurring injury like a hamstring, but it is a deep trauma that takes a long time to entirely recover from. Skippy had a seemingly innocent injury that the physio team and the medical team couldn't really work out what was wrong, and he was out for months, and that completely disrupted his progress, and his form hasn't really recovered last season from what it was at the end of the season before. So there's injury proneness kind of hanging around within our midfield options, and if we are to let him go, then that steady head, that steady supply of unbreakable muscle structure is gone, and that leaves vulnerabilities, I find. To me, if you do let him go, if we do sell him for 30 million, you have to replace him. I personally think you have to replace him. I don't think that Skippy and Sarr have progressed enough for me to feel confident of them being always ever-present mainstays in the first team. And with Bissouma out for the first half of the season, if Hojbjerg is gone as well, then one of those two would have to start as it currently looks. And to me, that's not really good enough. So if we are going to sell Hojbjerg, then I think that the only logical option would be to have to replace him and get someone else who can play in that. For me personally, I'd like to see someone to come in to play in the 6 to compete with Bissouma. I mentioned the names before. I really like Sofiane Amrabat. I think that the physicality that he presents, the range of passing, his balance, and his engine, I think would suit the 6, the Callum McGregor role. I think he's very strong in the air as well, which is a necessary feature when you are doing the high press and you're going to have the goalkeeper launching the ball clear. Obviously, you'd rather have the centre-backs win those aerial threats and knock it down to the 6, but there's going to be occasions where the 6 is one of the furthest back and has to compete. And for me, I think that Amrabat would be a very, very useful player in that position. I would go as far as to say that someone like Frank Kessie is also someone that we should be looking at, a player that's long been linked with Tottenham, and I think, again, would fit the structure and the required asks of Postecoglou's system. Again, strong, physical, but can play the ball very well, good vision, good range of passing, but can compete and can do all of the things off the ball that are asked of him and that are asked of anyone playing in that specific role in the 6. Obviously, then we've got to make a decision regarding Ndombele or Lo Celso. Are they going to be able to participate in the squad, or do we move them on and try and bring in somebody else to play understudy to James Maddison, because we certainly would need that. Maybe an Alex Scott would be a good fit there. And there's obviously other areas we need to figure out and fix further up the pitch. We do need inside forwards to compete with Sonny and maybe Decky if Pedro Porro and Udogie are deemed to be more offensive. Then maybe we also need to come back and play and think about those holes and competition for someone like Emerson Royale more than we currently are. But for me, back to the point, I think Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg is someone that does make sense to sell. The price is right, but it has to be replaced. We can't take that money and then put it towards going and getting Gonçalves from Porto to compete with Sonny up at the top end of the pitch. I think we would be left open. And in the Postecoglou system, you need that 3 to be stable, secure. You need everyone to know their role, to play their part with intelligence and aplomb. And for me personally, and I know that a lot of people in the comments will disagree, they'll think that Skippy and Sarr are good enough. I'm not sure that they are yet. And with the unknown regarding Bentancur and how long he's going to be out for and what sort of player he's going to be like, I think that we need to be a little bit more brave and a little bit more sensible and maybe go again for a midfielder. Let me know who the player is that you would like. Obviously, we've spoken before about people like Palhinha from Fulham, but Fulham allegedly want upwards of £90 million for him, which, I mean, it's up to them to place the value on the player. I don't think anyone will pay 90 million for him. A very, very talented player, no doubt, but at that level, it is, I think, inconceivable that most clubs would go there, especially when you're looking at the relative valuations that are being set precedents of right now, like Declan Rice for 105 million. We'll find out what Caicedo goes for. But yeah, Palhinha for me should really be around 60 million, I would say. Apart from that, guys, the only other piece of news I thought I'd bring to you is that Destiny Udogie's agent has released some news into the media that he had spoken with Tottenham regarding Destiny Udogie and to confirm the plans that Udogie would be on the pre-season tour, which has been confirmed, right? So there's no real news there that he wouldn't be in the squad, and everyone's looking forward to seeing him. But the fact that the agent had to confirm it, and he mentioned in the same kind of interview that there's a lot of interest from top-tier Italian clubs like AC Milan, and that maybe they wanted to take him on loan for one more season to get him ready for the step-up, because there was concerns that he was bought for a Conte back 3 wing-back system, and that now, obviously, with the manager changing and going to a back 4, there were some question marks as to whether or not he would fit the system. Obviously, Tottenham have now kind of allayed those concerns to the agent and to the player, say, no, you are absolutely wanted, you are absolutely necessary. But it does leave that kind of question mark in your mind, is that if the player is sitting there saying, are you sure you still want me now that you've changed to a back four system? Does that highlight some level of concern to you that maybe, just maybe, the player isn't confident or comfortable in a back four system? And again, like I say, you could make the same argument for Pedro Porro. We bought these players, we bought two wonderful talents for a system that we're no longer playing. And I've said this all last year, that the next manager off the rank, when we pivot from the back three system that Conte wants, and we hopefully move to a back four system, there's going to be a hell of a lot of square pegs in round holes, because the squad was being built for a wing-back system, and now we have to pivot. Now, Postecoglou, we know, is not going to go to a back three system. He, just like Conte, is someone who fits the squad to his tactics, not the tactics to the squad. And I understand it. If that's what you know, then that's what you know. Fair enough. However, I think there's going to be problems. I think there are going to be question marks over not just Pedro Porro's best position, but maybe Destiny Udogie. Both of them are incredibly attacking players. And maybe, just maybe, we might not necessarily go into the transfer market and pick that forward that we've been talking about for the left or for the right to play understudy to Deki or to Sonny, until Postecoglou has run his eye over these players and determined whether or not, in his particular system, they are better off being in the three at the top end rather than the four at the bottom end of the pitch. And if that is the determination, both for Porro and for Udogie, then Tottenham have to get back into the market and go again for another set of fullbacks. Because Emerson Royale is the best fit right now, and everyone loves Emerson Royale. Like, he's a cult hero. We get that. Everyone thinks, you know, the world of him. He's a try-hard. He's, you know, Lord loves a tryer. But I think there's still question marks over his abilities. And I think that if we don't have anyone to compete with him naturally, and Jed Spence for me has not proven himself. I know a lot of people think we have Jed Spence and he's good enough. I'm not sure. I've not seen any reason to think that anyone else should think that that's the case. With the exception of one decent performance against Kylian Mbappe, and with a couple of performances against Arsenal in the FA Cup, what has anyone really seen of him defensively to give the confidence that he can play a right back? And the same on the left. If Destiny Udogie is considered by Postecoglou to be more of a left winger than a left back, then what do we do? Ben Davies and Serge Reguilon? Ben Davies and Sessegnon? Perisic, is he still going to be around? There's still a lot of work to be done, guys. A lot of question marks. Let me know your thoughts. First and foremost, are you cool with the idea of Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg leaving? If so, what's your number and who do you replace him with? Do you go to a team like Fiorentina and say, hey, do you want to do a straight swap? We'll bring Amrabat in, you can have Hojbjerg, and we'll give you whatever the difference is as a cash incentive, 5 million, 10 million, whatever that number is. Would he be perfect for you? I'd love him to come in and compete with Bissouma. I think he's a perfect fit. Also, of course, Kessie, let me know about him. Anyone else I'm not talking about, let me know about them. And then let me know what your thoughts are regarding Udogie and his agent and those comments around whether or not he wasn't sure if the player was right for the back three system. Are you as worried as I am that maybe, just maybe, the wing backs and the specificities of the full back system with a high line back four are so unique that we don't have necessarily the correct solutions just yet? Lots to talk about, guys. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.